Voters no doubt outright rejected Vice President Kamala Harris, but across the nation, Americans elected Democrats to the House of Representatives, leaving Republicans with the second smallest House majority in history. What it all means for Trump's agenda and the Democratic Party as they seek to regain control of Washington. Welcome to the No Spin Zone. Graphs Grievances starts right now. In about 2 months, the Democratic Party will be electing a new chairperson to lead them out of the proverbial woods and into a new era. The party's current chair, Jamie Harrison, deciding not to seek re-election after Democrats lost control of the presidency and the Senate, and failed to regain control of the House, which was already in the hands of Republicans. Come February 1st, the Democratic Party's 448 committee members, who are mostly party officials and politicians, are expected to vote on Harrison's replacement. And currently, various contenders for the role are campaigning publicly and privately among party members seeking to build support for their candidacy, explaining why they believe Democrats lost and what Democrats need to do to retake control of Washington. But outside of this elite circle of insiders, it seems like everyone from columnists to washed-up former politicians and even content creators have a take on why Democrats performed so poorly in November. Viewers of this channel know I too have explained why I think Democrats lost the presidency and what I believe they should have done differently. Unlike most of the analysis I have consumed, I believe President Biden would have been a better candidate than Vice President Harris. Biden had a historic record of accomplishments that Harris was afraid to campaign on for fear of tying herself to the unpopular president. But with nothing to campaign on, it was hard for Harris to make the case why she should be president. Meanwhile, yes, President Biden was and is unpopular. But guess who is also very unpopular? A certain president-elect named Donald Trump. Look at this. On November 4th, 2024, the day before Election Day, Biden's disapproval rating was 56%. Biden's approval rating was 39%. Certainly not good. But look at Trump. On the same day, Trump's disapproval rating was 52% and Trump's approval rating was 44%. Yes, better than Biden, but not by much. And here's where things get interesting. Let's look at Harris. On the same day, November 4th, Harris's disapproval was 48%, while Harris's approval was 46%. So note, Harris was more popular than Trump with a lower disapproval and a higher approval rating, yet she still lost to Trump by a lot. The point? Approval ratings are not everything. Just because someone might not approve of the candidate, that doesn't mean they won't vote for them. And as for that other argument that Biden is senile, loses his train of thought, and can't seem to put a sentence together, I grant you he appears diminished. But I think that the vast majority of voters who care about this already decided if they were going to vote for Biden or Trump. Meanwhile, infrequent, moderate, and independent voters do not prioritize, let's just call it, presentation style. Rather, they are looking for someone they identify with. Just look at what happened in the U.S. Senate race in Pennsylvania in 2022. You remember Democratic Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman faced off in a bitter contest against the Trump-endorsed Republican TV doctor Mehmet Oz. Not only did Fetterman campaign in baggy shorts and oversized hoodies, but suffered a near-fatal stroke on the campaign trail that left him struggling to speak.
What qualifies you to be a U.S. Senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi, good night, everybody.
You're saying tonight that you support fracking, that you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand and I do support fracking.
Last week, you released this note from your doctor saying you can work full duty in public office, but you have not released your detailed medical records surrounding your stroke. Mr. Fetterman, will you pledge tonight to release those records in the interest of transparency? You have 60 seconds.
No. To me, for transparency is about showing up. I'm here today to have a debate. And I believe that, again, my doctors, the real doctors that I believe in, they all believe that I'm ready to be served.
Follow up. I didn't hear you say you would release your full medical records. Why not? You have 30 seconds.
No. Again, my doctor all believes that I'm fit to be serving, and that's what I believe is where I'm standing. Now, we all have to make sure that everyone that works is able to, that's the most American bargain, that if you work full-time, you should be able to live in dignity as well, true. And I believe they haven't have any businesses being we can't have businesses being subsidized by not paying individuals that just simply can't afford to pay their own way.
So you have publicly supported many of his policy positions. Are there any that you disagree with? 30 seconds.
No, I just believe he needs to do more.
Where do you think spending should be cut? You have 60 seconds.
No, here's what I think we have to fight about inflation here right now. That's what we need to fight about, inflation.
Yet, despite that rocky performance and several others that didn't go well for him, the great people of Pennsylvania voted Fetterman into the U.S. Senate by a 5-point margin over Oz. And that might not sound like a lot, but in November, Trump defeated Harris in the Commonwealth by just 1 point. And in 2020, Biden defeated Trump by also just 1 point. Many factors go into how people choose to vote, but I think it is cruel and wrong for Democrats to continue to blame Biden for Harris's loss. She lost to Trump by 2 million votes. President Biden defeated Trump by 7 million votes. And furthermore, while Harris lost to Trump, Democrats actually made gains in the House of Representatives. Before November, Republicans controlled the House 221 to 214 for Democrats, or a 7-seat Republican majority. Now, after the election, Republicans still control the House, but their majority is just 5 seats, 220 to 215. And because Trump has plucked at least 3 Republican Congress members to join his incoming administration, until special elections are held to fill those seats, which could take months, Republicans have just a 2-seat majority, 217 to 215. And remember, if it's a tie vote, the legislation does not pass. So Trump and Republicans cannot afford to lose a single Republican if Democrats are unanimously opposed. This second smallest House majority in history will present a huge headache for Trump and Republicans, likely stymieing much of their agenda for the first 100 days. But even after those special elections are held and Republicans get back to having a 5-seat majority, governing will be very challenging. And that is because there are now over 40 seats in the House that were decided by less than 5 percentage points. This means that voters in those districts are not hardcore Trump supporters or hardcore Democrats, and their representatives will likely be reluctant to vote for Trump's radical agenda. According to NBC News, House Democrats were able to outperform Harris by winning a greater percentage of counties with lower levels of education, and where the majority of registered voters are people of color. Would Biden have won the votes of these Americans? We will never know. Democratic Senate candidates also outperformed Harris in Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Trump winning all of those states, but the Republican Senate candidate there losing to the Democrat. So, as the Democratic Party seeks to rebuild ahead of the midterms, I urge them not to scrap everything they stand for, and instead focus on what went right with their congressional and Senate campaigns. And what I think they will find is that the party at large needs to refocus on the middle class and those blue-collar workers that sent President Biden to the White House in the first place. Thank you for watching Graf's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, share. It really helps me grow this channel. And join me tomorrow for more.